is ever so vague that he wants to go through life alone. No one is ever so wise that he does not have unanswered questions in his heart. At this very moment, such questions may be bothering you. You may be wondering, how can I live the best kind of life? How can I enjoy life at its fullest? The answers can be found only in God. Worship Him in church every week. Worship Him at home every day.
Hey, welcome back. It's the Tomb of Terror, ladies and gentlemen, with your host, Dr. Kratu Orloff. It's episode 707. It is April 1st, 2023, Saturday afternoon. Let's see. Got an AOK unboxing this afternoon, and a lot of stuff going on here in the Tomb of Terror. But first, I'd like to remember Steve Skeates. Steve Skeates, the great comic book writer of the Bronze Age and late Silver Age. He passed away Thursday, March 30th, 2023. Just about all the comics I was attracted to when I was in elementary school, they all seemed to be written by Steve Skeates. Plop, Aquaman. He was the co-creator of Hawk and Dove with Steve Ditko. He worked for Warren magazine. I think he wrote 72 stories for Warren Publications. He wrote for Charlton, The Many Ghosts of Dr. Graves. Everything I was reading was written by him. And then at some point in the late 80s, I'm watching I've spent 2 hours this morning watching John Gores cartoons, animation, stop motion animation, regular animation. You've got to watch it, and if you sit down and watch it for that amount of time, you will understand the genius that John Gores is. Look up John Gores on YouTube. Start watching his videos. Anyway, back to Steve Skeates, then I'll get back to John Gores. In the late 80s, Steve Skeates decided he's going to get out of comics. And he started bartending. And then he started, he still wanted to dabble in it. So in a local newspaper, he started a comic strip. It was pretty popular, but then they were going to cancel it. So he got all these ballots and got all the regulars in his bar to cast the ballot to continue the comic strip. So anyway, it kept going. He came back in later years, in the last decade or so, writing for a Charlton Arrow, and there's still unpublished stuff. John Gores underdog stories and stuff that has yet to be published, I think. But anyway, so that's important because Plop, and I was just thinking about Plop, and then this morning I was watching Shannon and Dr. Silver Age, and Shannon was showing his run of DC Comics Plop, and I put in the comments that Plop was the greatest. It really did change my life. When I saw Plop #1 on the spinner rack there in Hampton, Virginia, in the summer of '73, it was just like, I knew what it must have felt like to, let's see if I can find on this paperback rack, the E.C. Mad comics in the early 50s. I felt like what it must have been like to be one of those kids in the early 50s, finding these wonderful comics on the rack in the early 50s. That's how I felt there 20 years later in the early 70s with these terrific Plop comics. And all these obscure things, but they were important to me that Steve Skeates wrote, like this 1970s revival of Plastic Man. I thought that was wonderful. So, here's more. Here's more E.C. Mad, Son of Mad. Yeah. So it is what it is. Yeah. Steve Skeets, it's really sad. That really did hit me hard this morning when I found out that Steve Skeets had passed away. And today is the birthday of another one of these great EC Mads. You know what it is? I saw these paperbacks and I realized this art and the style is different from what I'm used to in Mad, the black and white magazine. And then in Mad, in either late 72, early 73, in one of their specials, they had a special little comic book, color comic book supplement called the Nostalgic Mad, where they reprinted that EC Mad, early 50s EC Mad art in color. And then it was all, tribute to the 1950s. And I realized, oh, this is where the good stuff was 20 years ago. And then when Plop came out, it even had some of the same artists, like Basil Wolverton, working for it doing covers and things. And it was just a wonderful thing for me, Plop. But today is the birthday of also Sheldon Meyer. Sheldon Meyer, things that I loved when I was a kid, like the DC Rudolph, the Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, the Three Mouseketeers. He did a lot of this great stuff. I loved his style. And another cool thing about Sheldon Meyer is he's the guy that really discovered Superman. I mean, Siegel and Schuster had submitted the Superman character to all these syndicates and everything. Everyone rejected it. It was in the one source says it was in a reject pile. One source says it was actually in a trash can, and that Shelley Meyer just pulled it out and said, "Hey, we need to look at this because this is really good." And it they put it. William Gaines' father took it into, I don't know, Donenfeld, and he was looking for stuff for Action Comics #1, and that's how he was the guy. He wasn't the guy that created Superman, but he was the doctor that delivered the birth, let's say it that way. So a lot of things like that. Anyway, John Gores, this wonderful animator and friend of the channel, in fact, he just sent me an AOK, does this tremendous animation. Which is, you watch this long enough, you'll realize this is better than anything. It's really incredible. Anyway, he's commissioned me to do several paintings. One, a painting of the Blind Dead. What was the other thing I painted for him? I just painted C-3PO and R2-D2 for him, but there was something else. Man, what was the other painting I did? I just can't remember now. I think this is the third painting I've done for him. But anyway, one of his films, he has this great series called Ghost Tank, and it's the skeleton in a tank, and he just kills people for it's just nonstop slaughter. You got to look up John Gores Ghost Tank. But anyway, there was a fourth installment called Ghost Tank 4 that just disappeared from his computer, and he was hoping I could download it for him on a flash drive. And I said, well, if I can't do that, I can at least burn it onto a DVD. Right now I'm watching a DVD. This is all stuff I recorded from YouTube this morning, except I put it all in order. Ghost Tank 1, 2, 3, and 4, and all the little extra Ghost Tank stories. And then his Robots versus Mutants videos, I put those all kind of in an order to create a cinematic experience where I have basically almost 2 hours of this. But anyway, Ghost Tank 4 is now, he says, a lost film, but it only exists on YouTube, so he really wanted me to download it onto a flash drive. And I looked at that this morning, and it requires you to subscribe to YouTube for $15.99 a month to download videos. So, but they give you a free trial. So, my wife knows how to do all that stuff. So I'm going to try to get a free trial. Maybe that'll give me the ability to not have commercials for a little while too on YouTube. Anyway, if I can't download it and get it on the flash drive, I'll at least put it on a DVD for him, and it will have this wonderful quality. This kind of, I've spent weeks watching the 1966 Marvel superheroes cartoons, and watching this, it's almost the same kind of religious experience. It just non-stop destruction and violence and gore. It's almost too beautiful to accept that it exists in the real world. But anyway, every time he sends me an A-OK, he sends me like original art, because he's got so much. I think he paints and animates pretty much all day, I think, and so he's got so much art that he, I guess, photographs it, and then he, needs to clear off the space in his basement in his house, so he sends it up. So I'm getting kind of a collection. I need to frame some of this. Anyway, one thing I'm doing is organizing in the basement, so I'm at least going to put the stuff I don't frame into a file folder so it doesn't get lost. But anyway. Oh, speaking of Plastic Man, one thing he sent me was this little, it's a tattoo. So I can have a Plastic Man tattoo. So that's neat. Let's get that there. But yeah, he'll send me this, like this is a postcard he sent to me. And I mean, look at that. The post office put these stickers over it. I'm sure there's a way to remove that, but anyway, it's a wonderful piece of art, and they've put stickers on it. I don't know what they're thinking. Yeah, that's great. So, and he sent me some flash drives in this envelope that was inside the box. Yeah, my wife made sure that everything got to me, because yesterday was a heck of a day. I understand weather's been weird all over the country, but here, where we're at, yesterday it starts off, it's 70 degrees in the morning. It's like a spring weather, and the sun's out. Then all of a sudden it gets real windy. Let's see, what was the order? It got windy, and then it started hailing. Then there was a tornado warning, and we had to shelter in place. And then then the sun came out, and then the wind came in at like 50 mile per hour gusts of wind, at least, or 30. It got up where the house was creaking, and it's like, what? And I think it even broke a window, either the hail or the wind, but it's a double paned window, so it's still got glass there protecting us from everything, but it's an older window, the wood around. Anyway, I saw broken glass up there, so I figure that must have been what happened. Although I don't go on that side of the house very often. Anyway, then last night then it went up to 70 again. Then there was a dusting of snow when I woke up this morning on the ground and on my windshield and on the top of my car. And then today it's perfectly sunny outside, except still a little windy, not as bad as yesterday. So anyway, right when I get a little notification on my phone that the mail has arrived at the house, right as the storm is coming down, the tornado warning. So I told my wife, go to the basement, but then I said, check, because you can kind of get either from the basement to the mailbox. I said, make sure that I think the package from John Gores came today. Make sure it doesn't get wet, because here's the deal. I'll show you how it works. Now, let me put some shoes on. I'll show you that window that broke too. See, it's nonstop. It just never ends. It's wonderful. You guys need to, if you're subscribed to this channel, you need to go subscribe to him. I'm going to go check later today and make sure that he has lots more new subscriptions, because you need to be subscribed to him. Anyway, show you how it works, in case you ever send a package to me. Yeah, usually the weather's nice and sunny, but if it's raining. I mean, I guess they could knock on the door, but if I'm at work, that doesn't work. So anyway, so this is the way the house is configured. See, a package is either going to be set here on the top step, or it's, you know, going to be put over here into this mailbox here. Let me check the mail while I'm at it. There's nothing in there. If it will fit in that box, that's great. It won't get wet. They could set it here. It has a little bit of an overhang, but I'm just noticing. Okay, that's probably what the original. Okay, I'm looking. This is what the original house is made of. This, and then they put this fake or this real brick over it, probably in the 50s. Okay, because I'm wondering what's underneath all this facade. Anyway, but yesterday his package was apparently, this is another way they could deliver mail. It was hanging out of here, or it could get wet potentially. So she rescued it before it got wet. So I'll show you, because there were some books in there I wanted to let you see. Anyway, it's kind of nice out here. It's a little chilly, but the sky is blue. No chemtrails. So we've got to get new windows. Like, see here, this window's, the outer window's broken, but that was that way when we moved in. These are the windows to the basement. Need to get a new air conditioner for the basement too. But yes, see here, there's a broken glass. This broken glass came from this here. There was another window. See how that wood is kind of getting old there? And here you see there's a pane of glass that's aligned with the wood. So you got to get that fixed, I guess, at some point. But not a lot of money right now. I might do a telethon. I'm thinking of doing a telethon. I've done that before, and putting my PayPal address, and then I can have special guests and do some musical performances. Maybe people will donate $5 or something, and then I can raise some money to do things like fix that window, and maybe take my wife out to dinner on my birthday, and on her birthday too, which is a few weeks later. Her birthday being April 20th, hers is May the 4th. Those evil modern Star Wars idiots have taken over my wife's birthday and called it Star Wars Day. May the 4th be with you. Even though it's clearly not. They just think it sounds cute. May the 4th be with you. But Star Wars really came out like May 25th or something that year in 77. And my birthday's been taken over by hippies, April 20th, and it's like marijuana day. See, this is better than that 1981 heavy metal movie by a million bounds and leaps. And I like the heavy metal movie, but that animation's a lot more fun, you gotta admit. You gotta watch it. You gotta do a marathon viewing of it. Binge watch John Goris's channel. Subscribe to his channel. Okay. So when do we get in the package? Well, let's see. I believe this could be an eraser, but it's about the size of a small piece of bread. It says, it's not wise. Let me move this ladder. You are mounted to a ladder right now. Okay, it's not wise to upset a Wookiee, says Han Solo. So, whoa, shoot, Drew, why are you standing there? How dare you? Okay. Then he sent me these 2 flash drives. One has a movie that he did that apparently is legendary. called Chirpy. It's apparently not on YouTube, but it's apparently too horrifying for YouTube. But it's on one of these where I can actually view it, and the other one I need to fill up with his Ghost Tank 4, Part 4. So it goes there. Oh, he sent me some wacky packages. I was just showing some wacky packages the other night on Four Color Fossils show. Here's Hawaiian pants. This is one of the more modern ones, and by modern, probably 1990s. You can tell the modern ones because they're making fun of packaging that's more recent than that's not the 1970s packaging for Mr. Potato Head, and they also have puzzle pieces on the back instead of the original ones would just have tan paper on the back. They were stickers, and then the checklist were the ones that would assemble into a puzzle. I don't know what this is. Watch your mouth. A flying meatball just hit my face. I don't know what that is. Here's something. Win free trips to Ireland. Hey, I'm totally amenable to that. I'd love to visit Ireland. That's where my father's side of the family is from. What is this? What is this? I'm just looking at some of this stuff for the first time. It appears to be, oh, you know what this could be? Is it's looking like, is that the Bo Derek Tarzan movie? Let's see. Yes, it apparently is. A little Bo Derek poster. This is a movie that poster 7 of 12. This must have come in a bubblegum pack. I never saw this movie. I'm a huge fan of Edgar Rice Burroughs, but I never saw this particular Tarzan movie. It was marketed just as an excuse to see her unclothed. It was an R-rated Tarzan movie, so it was, and it was directed by her husband. And I never really was that crazy about Bo Derek. But it's a Tarzan collectible, so that goes here. Oh, and then there's some more cards. Let's see what else we got here. We've got a Jesus baseball card. Let's see. I am the resurrection and the life. Whoever believes in me, even if he dies, will live, and everyone who lives and believes in me will never die. And that's from John. That might have been, a friend of mine came to me in a dream about 2 years ago, a friend of mine that had passed away, and he said, and I said to him, hey, because it seemed completely real, we're at a party, and I said, hey, you've been dead a few years, how are you here? And he said, I can't really talk about it. And he said, here, I want you to remember something. And he gave me a John and some, the chapter numbers to look up, the numbers to look up. And he said, I know you're going to forget. You got to remember, because he knew I was going to forget. And I said, I can remember. Of course, when I woke up, I forgot. But I know he said John. And maybe this was the verse he's referring to. I'm not even joking with you guys. I sound like Biden. Not a joke. Not a joke. Let's see. Oh, this is the black hole. I was just talking about the black hole the other day. The Disney movie from, was it 79 or 1980? They were, it had Ernest Borgnine in it. I forgot that. Here's another, this is like a funeral card, and cherished memory of I guess he got these from funerals or something. I got a Camel Cigarettes catalog. For a while, it was very weird. They were kind of marketing Camel cigarettes to children, sort of, because they had a little cartoon mascot. It's kind of like Ham's Beer used those really cool cartoon bears in their TV commercials back in the 50s and 60s, and it was like, what is your target audience for this beer exactly? But this Joe Camel, they got rid of him. He kind of always looked wrong. If you I don't know. Something about him always looked a little wrong. You see what I'm talking about? It just kind of looks like naughty bits, right? Kind of looks like, Statue of David has apparently offended some people recently. It kind of looks like that a little bit. All right, Joe's Camel Catalog. And then another wacky package. It's like Siamese twins, you two. And it says, wacky packages, packed to the future stickers. See what wacky packs will be like in the not too distant future. Well, that's pretty neat. Let's see what else we got. Wow. We have another original piece of art from John Gores. Zombie. Now that is certainly worth framing. Look at this. Look at how it looks on the back. He's very prolific. I've got to get all this art organized. Then he sent me these two clown prints. It's like that big-eyed art, from the 60s and early 70s. I've got a whole guest bedroom upstairs filled with this kind of art. Never seen these two particular ones. This is great. And then, please maintain social distancing. This is a nice artifact of the last few years. I think I might put this this might be good decoration for the pinball room, which we're about to go to here in a little bit. Okay, so that's that. So let's get the John Gores art together. And then, that and this. The main thing he sent were some monster magazines. Oh, he sent a Dr. Spectre, too. Which is, I think Steve Skeets wrote for the Many Ghosts of Dr. Graves. That was Charlton. This is Gold Key. Dr. Graves is different from Dr. Spectre. Marvel had Dr. Strange. Gold Key had Dr. Spectre. Charlton had Dr. Graves, right? And then DC had Dr. Fate. This is issue 21. Let's take a look inside. Yeah, this very magnificent. Here are the 1970s t-shirt transfers. And then on this page are the 1970s patches you could get. Drew the dog is going upstairs. She's bored by Dr. Spectre. Nice artwork in this. The Occult Files of Dr. Spectre. Yeah. Steve Skeets, yeah, he was 80 years old. Thursday, March 30th. All right, what else is here? Sent me a copy of Castle of Frankenstein, number, which one was this? This is I remember this was around 1973. So, well, it was when Young Frankenstein came out. You know, I have this, but this is a nice reading copy. And this one is a pretty nice copy of this 60s issue, which has an interview with Leonard Nimoy and Stan Lee. This is now Castle of Frankenstein has been revived. I think they put out 1 or 2 issues. I don't know how to get it. I guess I could mail order it from the publisher. That would require money. I guess I could have a comic store order it for me. I hate to ask Gotham City Comics to order it for me because he's got probably who knows how many hundreds of dollars on hold for me in a box, which he doesn't mind, but that's like every payday. Are we going to have any extra money? I got to send some money to Gotham City Comics. No extra money. In fact, we're in trouble. So we got a $1,100 bill for this plumber. They're being cool about it, but shit. Thus, might be time for. But I'm going to sell some books. I was going to put this New Mutants 98 with the first appearance of Deadpool on consignment with Gotham City Comics, but maybe I can offer it to you guys and some other comics, and maybe just not inconvenience him and get some cash inflow. This is a significant thing that he sent. This Monster Times, this is the EC issue. And this was really important because in the early 70s, I think around 72, they put out a hardcover book called Horror Comics of the 1950s, and it was all EC color reprints. And that's now a kind of a pricey book. I think people pay at least $150 for it. I think I'd love to get a copy of it. I remember seeing it on at this weird comic store that opened across from my high school. It might have opened when I was in junior high school still. It was called, what was it called? It was like the Black Raven or something. And it was run by this couple. They never turned the lights on in the store. I think they couldn't afford electricity. They were like these two hippies, and in the back room, they always had their kids playing. And all their comics seemed to be sunburned, brown on the top. It was around the time that Love at First Bite came out, because I remember they had the Famous Monsters with George Hamilton on the cover. So it was about 79. I was still in junior high school. But I would walk down to this junior high school, to this comic book store, and they had that EC hardcover book. But it was like $25, which is like $150 in today's money. And so I couldn't afford it. But anyway, also East Coast Comics, or some of these young guys in their 20s, put out about 8 EC comic reprints that look pretty authentic, color comics, in that same time, around 72, 73. And then there was an EC convention, and Monster Times was the other key component in reviving interest in EC, and particularly this issue. And they had big ads, as I recall, for the EC convention, which I guess was held in New York, in this. Now, and see, they have an interview with Gaines and Feldstein in here. This is newsprint, and so this is very. It has a checklist. It has all kinds of stuff. This was always a very. I don't have quite a complete run of Monster Times. It's always something I've always wanted to have. But it's one of the things that inspired me. This magazine is one of the main things that inspired me to always want to make my own magazines, because I just loved. That's it. The book that is so valuable. It has that masthead, Horror Comics of the 1950s, and yeah, I don't have this issue, so this is my only copy of this. And that's the ad for the book I'm talking about. That's very expensive now. And they would sell these posters too. They would sell this book and these posters also in the Warren magazines. These are 2 covers that were censored back in the actual 50s. So this is going to be a wonderful reading experience. And here's an article about Frederick Wortham and Seduction of the Innocent, which I find disturbing. Some people here on YouTube are starting to call books that were mentioned in Seduction of the Innocent, which was a book that put out by this German psychologist who said that comic books were causing kids to become juvenile delinquents and to become deviants. And it upset a lot of parents and teachers, and ultimately it ran a lot of comic books out of business. Almost EC ran out of, but except they kept going with Mad, which I was talking about earlier. But they just turned it into a magazine, so it was no longer subject to the Comics Code Authority, which was a self-regulating board set up by the comics industry to keep the extreme stuff out. Anyway, I noticed people on YouTube that say this is part of my SOTI collection. They say SOTI instead of saying Seduction of the Innocent, and that's such a that I don't like that particular acronym. I don't like many acronyms. For one thing, it's like, does it take that long to say Seduction of the Innocent? It sounds a lot better than saying SOTI. SOTI sounds a little bit, and I just rather say it. I'd rather say application than app. I don't like these little shortened words. I'm going to always say Kentucky Fried Chicken. I'm not going to say KFC. Not that I say it that often, since there's not one anywhere near here. And even if they were, it doesn't taste like it used to. So, just say Seduction of the Innocent. Those are the people that can actually afford those comics. The books that are mentioned in Seduction of the Innocent are very pricey. You know, people collect the ones that were actually cited as being evil, corrupt influences on kids. So. By the way, speaking of corrupt, what do you think about Alvin Bragg? Isn't it wonderful to live in a banana republic? I guess Tuesday they're going to be bringing the wonderful President Trump in and fingerprinting him. And meanwhile, all those people who went to Epstein Island, nothing's happening to them. Oh, well. This is the first issue. I don't have this. I've got a lot of monster magazines. I don't have this. I should have this. It's just, I would have had it, but I never saw it on the stands. This is part of the Atlas Seaboard launch in 1975 to compete with Marvel. Really, their goal was to run Marvel out of business. It was done out of vengeance. And anyway, I probably shouldn't say that word on YouTube because that's... Anyway, it has 100 weird photos, I'll have you know. But anyway, Atlas Seaboard was imitating Warren. This was their famous monsters. And, they would do imitations of... it was because the publisher of Marvel intended his son to take over when he retired. But instead, they said, no, we're going to put Stan Lee in as publisher. And he got so pissed, he said, I'm going to start my own comic book company. I'm going to put my son in as publisher. And because I know how to publish these comics, I can, and I'll pay the artists more and the writers more, or maybe he gave them the rights to own their art or something he did. So he brought in a lot of great artists and writers, and he started a company, and none of the issues really lasted more than 4 issues. It was an experiment that lasted about half a year, but it was exciting to me because I've told you this before, I missed the Silver Age. I was born in 1965, so I thought, here's a new comic company starting, and I'm right in there at the beginning buying issue 1s. But anyway, I got issue 2 off the newsstand in San Antonio at the 7-Eleven or Stop and Go or whatever. Issue 2 has this wonderful painting. Oh man, this is Greg Theakston. And I think Greg Theakston did issue 2. Also, it's a cover with Dr. Zayas. Greg Theakston was a wonderful artist. Well, was a wonderful artist. He put out the Betty Page's little digest magazine that he worked with Dave Stevens, and they repopularized Betty Page, and then they found Betty Page, who was still alive, and made sure she was getting money, and knew that she was her work as a young lady was appreciated and I guess brightened her life in her last years. But anyway, this is Greg Theakston. So, we have the Exorcist scrapbook and all kinds. Oh yeah, this is their version of a centerfold. It's not a Playboy centerfold. And of course, Star Trek was very popular there in the early to mid 70s because it was in syndication. Seventh Voyage of Sinbad was one of those movies that changed my life. And of course, Planet of the Apes. Man, there's so much great stuff in here. This was, they totally knew everything that I loved as a kid. Let's see. The ads in the back. They got a Flintstones model kit. I have never seen this model kit of this dinosaur from the Flintstones. Yeah, the ads aren't as spectacular as the ones in the back of the Warren magazines, but there's only 4 pages of ads, which is disappointing. Some people hate those ads at the back of the Warren magazines. They say, they just take up too much space. I've always loved them. So, to each their own, I guess. So, we've gone through the AOK package. We talked about Shelley Meyer's birthday. We talked about Steve Skeets passing away. We talked about the weather. I talked about John Gorris's wonderful animation. Let's take a look at what's going on now on the television. You've been hearing the sound effects of it during this whole... it's still a ghost tank. You just got to look him up. It's fantastic. Okay, let's get the charging cable and let's go down to the basement. I got stuff to do. Last time I put my PayPal address down below the video and I kept asking my wife, did anyone contribute? She says, no, you're just embarrassing yourself asking for money. Yeah, I know, but everyone else on YouTube seems to do it. I thought, well, maybe it'll work for me. Maybe someone will donate $5 or something, but it's not going to happen. It's hard times for everybody. I just spent $22 on a big 24 rolls of toilet paper, man. Isn't that kind of expensive for toilet paper? I don't know. So, let's turn off some of these lights. And I'm going to take some of this. We got to create a file. Oh, let me get a marker, because I need to start marking up these file folders down in the basement, get things organized. Maybe we'll find some cool stuff while we're down in the basement. I've got a black and a red Sharpie. I wonder what this background music is from. This is great. I could probably Shazam it. There's an app. I'm sorry, an application on your iPhone. You can download it. Where, if you're in a supermarket and magically hear some good music playing, which probably will never happen, you can hit the button. It'll listen for a few seconds, and usually it will identify the song and the artist. It's called Shazam. Yeah, Shazam. Solomon, Hercules, Achilles, Zeus, Atlas, or is it what's the frickin' order? Chosen from above all others. Billy Batson, whatever. I'm trying to remember how that opening went in that cartoon. Not cartoon, live action filmation. Chosen from among all others by the immortal elders, Solomon, Hercules, Atlas, Zeus, Achilles, Mercury. Billy Batson and his mentor travel the highways and the byways of the country, looking for diversity, equity, inclusion, and above all, the American way. Yeah, buddy. America. Banana Republic. Well, we're heading on down to the basement. Well, okay, so the arcade area is where I'm targeting today. Saturdays, I like to get stuff done where there's a visible difference at the end of the day, because I've got all this stuff everywhere. And let me see if I put this, there's enough light. If I put you guys here, are you going to be able to see? That's not much light, is it? Maybe it would be better to work. There, the camera's perfectly straight, all is well. I don't know if this is the right size for a Treasury edition. It might be. If it isn't, it's for a large magazine. So let's put that here. Here we have a Frank Miller Joker mask. That will go here. Here we have a Herman Munster mask. That looks pretty good, actually. That would make a good thumbnail for this video. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. How are you doing on this fine Saturday? That looks pretty good, I gotta admit. All right. There's all kinds of stuff here, ladies and gentlemen. Like sheet music, Coney Island. Okay, so we'll put sheet music over here on this pinball machine. Okay. Tweedledee. Oh, low battery. That means I've got to plug you guys in. Okay, well, that could be arranged. Gosh darn it. Where's the switch, man? There we go. Or no. Why is nothing working? What in the name of all that is holy? There we go. Oh, yes, indeed. There we go. All right. All right. We're ready to go. Oh, but now standing up is the problem. Okay. We'll plug you guys in and get you some electricity. Okay. I'm sorry, I was just wanting it to look the video to look better with the lights on the pinball machine behind us. So you could visualize how this will look when it is someday in arcade. Here's a black cat candle. Let's put this somewhere important. Okay. Oh, the John Gores file. Where did I put all the John Gores art? I thought I brought it down here. Here it is. Okay. I'm making folders. This one's, see, I'm making one for Comic Con flyers. And so I'm just gonna, anytime I find a Comic Con flyer, this is Dallas Comic Con 4 from 2004. So this is recent. I don't know. That Brent Spiner idiot was there for that. I never liked that robot Data. I don't know. This is movie flyers, and this is from this wonderful theater I've often talked about that's no longer around. This mall, Forum Mall, had the Forum 6 theaters, and every weekend they would have a lot of midnight movies. They would always have Rocky Horror Picture Show and Dawn of the Dead, and then they'd have other movies. So that's that. This says unfinished pages. So these are pages I can't show you that one. These are pages I started for my my homemade magazines I used to do. Here's another one of those sheet music. Of course, I don't read sheet music, so it's not any good to me, except it's just cool looking. Don't cry, little girl, don't cry. It's just beautiful artwork on these things. You know, this is over 100 years old. It's neat. Okay, so I need to get a folder that isn't marked and start up a John Gores folder. Okay, this says Mike stuff. Mike is my brother, Michael, that is, I haven't been in touch with him in a long time, but whenever I find anything by his, you know, here's like an old something from his high school or junior high. Here's some artwork he did. You know, I just save everything. Maybe someday he'll call me. I don't know. I'm still not sure. This is a file about jukeboxes. So, you know, somebody writing about a jukebox that I've got upstairs off the internet, and just pictures of jukeboxes, you know, go in that. This says report cards. Why do I need my report card from high school? I don't know. What is my worst grade? Algebra 2, I wasn't doing too good, man. I made a 74 on that. The worst grade I made was a C+ in algebra in the second 6 weeks. Then I got an A- the next one. The semester average is a B-. English 3, I had an A+. American history, an A. Commercial art, yeah, you bitch. She gave me an A- for the semester. What a scumbag. All right. Here's something I must have done in junior high school. Yes. It's dated December 4th, 1799, but I bet I did it in 1979. I don't know. No, it says on the back, February 5th, 1980. So I guess this history teacher was one of those creative history teachers. Make a newspaper about the French Revolution. Or maybe that was one of the possibilities you could do. She gave you an open-ended project. One of the choices, make a newspaper. So, okay, I'm all into that. So it's the Paris News. And she wrote on it, A-. Oath of tennis at some, I must have left something out. The revolution ends. Was it worth it? Look at my Horrifying artwork from 1980. Remember the Great Beheadings. Here's an editorial about the guillotine. Humane or not? Oh, there's a sale. I drew a little Basil Wolverine looking character. What does that say? Sale, 50% off. The National Convention has ordered you women to wear simple dresses. We have them. They're going fast. Hurry. Oh, and I have a... Oh, she liked this. I did a parody of the Amazing Spider-Man comic strip. It's the Amazing Frogman. She put good. It's completely... You imagine turning this into a teacher today? And it's a newspaper about the French. So, yeah, I'll make him Frogman. That probably went right over her head. The Amazing Frogman by Pierre Lee. Pierre Parker, revolutionary and terrorist, was bitten by a radioactive frog, transforming him into Frogman, fighter of the old regime. Yogg, the expletive deleted, bit me. See, he's getting bitten there. Now he fights against all tax collectors, nobles, and other corrupt government officials. He's putting an axe into the back of the head of the king. I turn this shit into teachers like a total mental patient. And take this, Louis, thou art a fiend. There's blood. These teachers must have thought I was out of my mind. I'll just give him an A-, and maybe he'll go away. All right, well, that's cool. See, it's great to save things because then you have proof that you've always been insane. Here's a bunch of... Damn, I got folded. These are 3D posters from probably Dynamite magazine in elementary school, you know, Scholastic Press. You'd order Dynamite magazine. And this is the werewolf. And I have some 3D glasses. Everywhere I look, there's a pair of 3D glasses, but I don't see them right now. But I'll put this up to the camera, and I'm sure you have 3D glasses somewhere in your comic collection. You can look at your television and see this werewolf in 3D. I guess I need another folder for 3D posters, because here's a... Shit. You mouth breather, you. Here's one of two superheroes that I think they created for Dynamite magazine, because they were doing Marvel and DC origin stories in Dynamite, and I think, well, why are we paying Marvel and DC or whatever? Why don't we just come up with our own heroes, then we can make money off of them. So I think they created the Dynamite Twins. I think that's what they were called. Anyway, they look just as legitimate as most superheroes. They don't look too bad, I guess. I believe that's what they were called. I don't know. My good friend George Arbelize did this. This is a copy of his original. He now does the artwork for the Six Flags Corporation. All their promotional material. He has his own commercial art studio. But this is in high school, probably late junior high, probably early high school. It's John Gores will like this. The skeleton with a gun. But he signs it Norman Rockwell. Anyway, this is something that probably should be framed. I'll put it with my Paris News. It's too big to go into a folder. Okay, everything's ADD, ADHD. I'm trying to do things and I keep getting distracted. Okay, I need to get more folders from the other room. That's what I need. Because these are all marked on. Okay. So, here's a folder. Here's a marker. This file will be, I think I didn't bring those two pieces of art down from upstairs, did I? John E. Gores. I guess I'm pronouncing Goris correctly. Okay, so I've got a sticker. This is all actual real artwork. This is not printed. He hand draws every sticker. So that goes in. Every one of these is an actual piece of original art. Bleed Your Death Upon Me. That's one of his music videos that you will see later on. Here's an envelope with his address, which I won't show you. Here's a letter to me with this drawing on the back. I'm not sure if this will fit in here. This is that says "Just Force It." In my opinion, this is better than the painting I did for him, which I will mail off on Monday. So it kind of goes outside the bounds of the folder. So I'm going to put it over here with this fake Norman Rockwell. And again, this might not fit in there either. It's another Blind Dead painting. It was folded up, but I want to keep everything flat if I can. I'll put it up here. I think I'm just going to put these small pieces into the John Goris folder. I don't want them getting lost. There's somebody else, I swore I saw a video on YouTube, someone else that kind of tries to keep a archive of his original art. So I certainly want to not lose anything that I'm given, because this is I see a lot of these little characters in his videos 100 times better than 1,000 times better than Ralph Bakshi, for sure. So when I was interviewing Damon Packard and John Goris came on, and I remember Damon Packard saying that, oh yeah, John Goris is a legend. And I'm thinking, and apparently John Goris is very famous among mentally insane people like us. And there's a whole documentary about kind of, I guess, outsider filmmakers, and I think he's featured in it. I need to find out the name of that documentary and watch it. Don't Let Them Hear You Breathe. See, this is too big for the folder too, but these are the kind of things in that should be framed. Yeah. Ghost Tank Forever. Another 100 skulls. Another 100 skulls. Another 100 skulls. This is a tremendous music video. My wife couldn't stop watching that video. But yesterday I called John Goris. He had left a message, and my wife took over and starts talking all these conspiracy theories, because she never gets to talk to anybody except for me, and that's not a fun experience. And so she just keeps talking and talking and talking. It's like, oh my gosh. And finally John says, oh, my phone's dying, which it probably was, but it's like, oh my gosh. And then afterwards she's saying, I hope I wasn't. She says, because I think I was saying the exact same things I said to him the last time I talked to him. You see, you look at these and you think, oh, this is just a printed thing. No, these are individually drawn. See the blood? Look at the blood drops. And so what he does, he has a commercial at the end of one of his videos where he shows, he animates these. And he says, send $5 and you'll get a sticker, like one of these stickers. And what he does this animation where it's like you see this, and then he has like, he's done dozens of them, and it looks like the blood's dripping, and he's chomping on his cigar. It's really cool. Yeah, see, he sent me a bunch of these. See, Ghost Tank 4. You guys got to watch these videos. You got to subscribe. Bleed Your Death Upon Me. And of course, this is stuff that's precious to me, but some people, there might be people that would just go put these on telephone poles, these stickers, and it would probably really disturb the people in your neighborhood. But I'm saving all this stuff. So we got a John Goris folder now, What does this one says? It says photos. Ooh. Look at this. This is a song list from the Ramones. This is a copy. It's not an original, or it would be in a frame on the wall. But this is what they would have down on the floor on the stage, so they know the order of songs. Okay, after Rockaway Beach, we're doing Lobotomy, I Don't Care, Sheena. So those of you that are Ramones fans, and then it says end. The Ramones are great. You know what their favorite comic book was? Weird War. This was Spider-Man for a while was under option to Roger Corman's studio. This is the picture I pulled off the internet back March the 9th, 2000. Man, it's 23 years ago, more than that. It looks right out of Steve Ditko, out of a Steve Ditko. That might have been pretty cool. Who knows what they would have done with that. You can't judge just by a still picture, but that whoever took that picture knew what they were doing. They appreciated it. Here's from MySpace. See, Gratu Orloff. That's what Gratu Orloff was on MySpace. This is from April 7th, 2006. And what I would do is I would type up something that sounds insane, and then I would, back then in 2006, the internet translators weren't very good, so I would translate it into, I would highlight and copy whatever I wrote. I'd put it into a translator and translate it like into Spanish. Then I'd copy that Spanish text and translate it back into English, and it would garble it up enough that it sounds like Gratu Orloff is this little Martian guy. That's actually a Skuzfink model kit, Big Daddy Roth. So the whole premise behind my persona on MySpace was I was this little Martian world conqueror. And so I've kept that persona because I knew even at the beginning of the internet, I don't really want to put my name out there, so I'll come up with a fake name. And let's see. It says, I am the gold god, the brightness, the great world Gratu, destroyer, to bringer of the death, alive in a cave in roofing tiles, in where I am drawing up to the destruction of this world shitty pathetic, the planet of the foam, the sweepings, and the degenerated immundicia subhuman. Hatred 95% of all the human beings in this excrement planet of the mother of goddamn, you think that you are hip, not you? The foam of emo that takes. Time keeps going. Yeah, it says the world will be destroyed in 2012. Keeps going, so whenever I find old Gratu writings that I printed off the internet, I put them in a file marked Gratu. This one's marked eBay, so it must be stuff I got off of eBay years ago. You hear me complain about, I don't have money for anything. Well, what you don't understand, you think, well, look at all that stuff he's got. Why didn't you just sell any of that? First of all, we're in a really big house, but it didn't cost much because it just didn't cost much because you saw the condition it's in, that window that's barely hanging on and stuff. And the house that I was in, I wasn't making much money. I was a school teacher, so I inherited the house when my father passed away, and then the house went up in value, and we sold it, and I was paid off the home equity loan remainder, and then I had enough cash to buy this place outright, and then when my father passed away, I got the house and some money too, and that's where I got most of these pinball machines. These weren't Yeah, they were, most of the pinball machines you're seeing in this room were less, $500-600 maybe, which is a lot of money to me now. But I all of a sudden I had a lot of money and I was this insane collector and I was depressed and had no girlfriend, or I thought I did, but it was far away. I just wanted to buy. I got inherited this money, buy lots of cool stuff, get on eBay, buy everything, and so all of a sudden that's how I got a lot of the movie posters and these arcade stuff. But then it was right back into poverty. So, yeah, I got a lot of stuff because I've been collecting all my life. But, and then you said, why don't you just sell? Well, I'll sell you that New Mutants '98. I'll show it to you here in a little bit. Or I probably won't. But if you're interested in New Mutants '98, I showed it on Four Color Fossils. Captain Strangelove says that looks like an 8.0, 8.5. It's really nice. I mean, it's not. If you're into Deadpool, and Deadpool's going to become real big, right? Because he's in a movie with Wolverine, and Disney's not going to mess that up. Because Disney has a very good track record. Then you can get that from me, please. This is just a file labeled artwork, and it's not artwork by me. It's just different artists. Like this is Al Cap, but I think it's actually Frank Frazetta because he was ghost artist for Al Cap. And this is artwork by John Michael McCarthy. I don't remember if Joe Riley owned this original art and I made a copy of it, but I just loved it, man. John Michael McCarthy, if you are watching this artwork here, man, if you still have this original piece of art, I'd be interested in that. What else I got in here? This I pulled off of eBay back in 2000. This was artwork done by Vampira. They were selling for minimum bid $76. So whenever I find, so I'm putting artwork in here. Then here's some blank folders. Okay, I'm not getting much done. I'm just showing you what I've already done, and I'm not getting anything new done. It's not a good thing. What am I going to do with this? Oh. Here's man, I don't know what you call this. Was this like put on a window in a drugstore to promote a movie coming out? It's a promotion for Ghidorah, the three-headed monster. I just don't know where to put this. This is the theater I was telling you about, the Granada Theater in Dallas, that would have these wonderful double features. It was a repertory house, so they would give these things up to hang on your wall so you'd know what movies are coming, and it would kind of open up like a little newspaper. So I've got these three seem to be duplicates, and I'd say this is from the mid-1980s. So I think I will put this, didn't I have a folder that said movie report cards? I gotta figure out a better comic. Oh, movie flyers. No, vintage ads. Oh, this is vintage ads. This is movie ads. So I've got all these. These are copies I made from a friend of mine's originals. This is a program for the Park Theater in 1963. The dog's here to poop on the floor again. Damn it. So I think I'll put these in a folder and label it Granada. Will they fit in the folder? Kind of. Okay. Granada Theater. I can hear the explosions from upstairs from John Gorris's cartoons. Okay, so it says Granada Theater. I never can remember how to spell theater.